Yo, what's up guys? Kyle here today with another YouTube video, and I got the Kindred runes. I just really want to go over it. I know I didn't post the last 2 days, so I'll give you guys an update on the coaching later on. But either way, or coaching giveaways. Let's skip through the runes. I mean, it's pretty simple. So just gonna give you guys some advice on what runes to really take in your league games. Either way, let's start with the main keystone. You got Conquer, Press the Attack, Lethal Tempo. They all have different uses. They're all very strong depending on the game. But usually the most consistent runes to me that I feel like, let's say you're very new at Kindred, you're like maybe below Master, maybe below GM, I would suggest you take PTA most of your games. It is just very consistent and nothing can go wrong. For Conquer and Lethal Tempo, they require a bit more mastery on the champion. You kind of need to understand that you have to scale and really play like the prolonged fights. You can't just like be PTA where you just go at them, all them 3 times, so you have a lot of damage. With Conquer and Lethal Tempo, Lethal you need 6 stacks, Conquer you need 12 stacks. Though you can stack it pretty fast, you need to understand it's not straight up a lot of burst damage on the opening. It's just really good in the longer fights, when people get tankier. It's really great to have these kind of runes 8 to 10 minutes plus into the game, pretty much. For the second and third row of the tree, Triumph and Alacrity. I don't know why you would take anything else. For the second row, it's Absorb Life, Presence Summon. I mean, Triumph clearly is the winner for those reasons I have on your screen. For Alacrity, attack speed is really good. It also stacks very fast. Kindred kind of needs it. You don't really buy that much attack speed. Oh, actually, I mean, that's a lot. You do, but you kind of need more than that usually. But I remember there was a meta a long time ago where I used to run Bloodline on Kindred because I would play like Kraken Builds with like Cleaver Renance. That'll be like my 4-item core. It's not bad if you think you're playing for a scaling type game, but it's not that consistent. It's very rare, so I didn't really want to put it in this guide. For the last row, I have Coup, Cut Down, Lost Town. Usually I'll run Coup most of my games, as it says. It's my favorite rune. It's just really good for the early game damage, and I like to fight a lot. But if you don't fight that much, you want to play more for like scaling, you should just go Cut Down. It's just really good after 15 minutes or so. I mean, it's a very much mid-game rune because people aren't like actually that tanky. Sometimes maybe like 12 minutes post is also good, but usually like Coup will just be higher value in the early game. As for Last Stand, I don't really like running this rune unless I'm playing Triforce Cleaver, like the Bruiser Kindred build. So, like usually if they have high burst and they're like diving onto you a lot, Last Stand can be good. So, that's my 3 recommendations on, well, there's only 3 of them in this tree, so one to really just take them in your games. Now, we got the secondary runes. These are the only secondary runes you can run on Kindred. For Domination, you can run Sudden Impact. Sometimes you can run Sixth Sense if you want. If you want to have like a early kind of like ward tracking. Don't know if it's really that worth it. I feel like Sudden Impact damage is pretty nice to have in early game, especially when you run something like Red Tree. For the second rune you take in Red Tree, you can go Relentless Hunter, Ultimate Hunter, or Treasure Hunter. They're all very good. Usually I run Relentless and Ulti Hunter the most. I feel like I don't have an issue with hitting my first item spike really for Treasure Hunter. So I usually just look at the comp. If they're very like ultimate reliance, and I feel like me having my ultimate often is very strong in the game, I'll take Ulti Hunter most of my games. Otherwise I take Relentless Hunter so I can run around the map, play for marks, The second page you can take is Inspiration. You take free boots with Cosmic or Jack of all trades. There's no, you should never go the, what's it called, triple tonic. It's not worth it. Like Cosmic having Smile on lower CD or Jack of all trades having stacks on it is very OP. When you buy items like Triforce, you stack it quite fast. When you buy Triforce with and you get armor, MR plus crit, you have very high stacks, a lot of haste, a lot of extra AD, which helps you play the game. So I would always go one of these supporting runes when I play Kindred. Now we got the abilities on Kindred. Always max Q first. And usually you want to go W second if you want to just have it on lower CD, and so you can spam your Q a lot in fights, so it's great to max second. But sometimes you can max E second if you are going full damage crit builds, because it has a lot of burst damage. If you do E max second with full crits and you have PTA, you're going to be like 3-hitting people, by the way, when you proc the E onto them. Like, if you're Kraken Collector, I don't know, IE, or like your Collector IE, you know, Youmuu's Collector, like LDR IE, like some of these like build variations where you go heavy crit with PTA, very PTA heavy setups, you do so much damage to that enemy squishy target. But usually you max W because it's better when they're fairly tanky. But when you see those games where they're pretty much like 4 squishy champions, very low HP targets, Emax is a great option. As for ults, you can actually put only 1 point ults and not put the second one at level 11 if you want. But I only do that if I think I have enough haste on my ults. Like, the only things you get from your ult is like extra healing and like lower CD on it. So having a second point is not really necessary, especially if you have a lot of haste and you have ulti hunter already. So you can kind of get away with just putting an extra point in your W or E and just like keep playing the game, you know. But usually the most default thing to do is max Q, then max W, then max E. Consistent as hell. So we got jungle pets right now. Usually, I think for newer Kindred players, I think you should go Green Smite. There's nothing bad about it really. You are very tanky and you have a shield and you can like play. It's more forgiving to play pretty much. When you go to other smites, you need to be quite like you need to have some kind of mastery on the champion. Usually, for the second pet you can go if you have good mastery is Red Smite. That's why it's the second one on your screen. And then blue is the highest risk, highest reward, because you need to really know how to play the map when you play blue smites. But usually, if you're pretty good at Kindred, if you play red smite, the slow you get on it is very nice for chasing people down. So that is why I recommend it if you're a decent champion. But usually, green smite is good because it's very forgiving. And I think when you first start learning this champion, you shouldn't make it too hard on yourself. Play a very forgiving build and just play the game as is. So the best boots on Kindred are armor or magic resist boots usually. Movement speed boots are like very high like reward. Pretty risky to go because usually you're gonna be pretty squishy, but they're not bad if you can buy them. Usually I like to do them if I'm very heavy HP builds, but most of the time I will buy armor boots or MR boots because the tier 3 upgrades when you win the feat of strength are very strong. They make you very tanky actually. So yeah, I mean, dude, you just can't go wrong with these armor, like these defensive boots. Like they're most forgiving also. Like if you want to learn this champion fully, well not fully, but like more and more and like get better and better at the champion, give yourself forgiving conditions. Like don't make the game too hard on yourself. Make the game harder for yourself later on when you get better and understand comps better, your matchups better, your builds better, mechanics are better. But at first you should just make it easy for yourself. And then let's look at the demonic options, because Berserker Greaves and Symbiotic Souls is literally for psychopathic gameplay. I'm telling you right now. And I go them sometimes. You guys seen it. So I only do it when I want to make the game so volatile that I want to kill, like drop a nuke in the like in the game. Drop a 25 kill nuke playing team deathmatch Call of Duty style. That is when I want to buy these boots. They're just very good for volatility. And sometimes, if you can recognize those situations, it's really good to actually go these boots. But again, that's where mastery comes in and understanding the game. That's why I said the things earlier. So, hope that makes sense for you guys. Kraken Slayer. One of the best items in the game on Kindred. It has always been one of her best items since like the dawn of time. This item will help you snowball super hard if used correctly. I know Triforce has been very like looked on for the last couple of like 2 or 3 years, but like guys, like if you play Kindred well and you understand that Triforce is actually more of a crutch item in most games, you don't actually need it. Because I think most people view it as a crutch item because like they think, oh, I need the HP, but it's like you don't really need HP in a lot of games actually. Triforce is for the HP. It's not for the damage stats. It's not for the attack speed. Like those are all nice and all, but it's mainly because you don't want to get bursted down and you want an HP item early game. So because there are certain champions that they get onto you, it's like very annoying to play. Kraken is just very great to buy to have a lot of damage in the early game, and if you play the champion well, if you are ahead of the curve, which Kindred should usually be, you want to play to play for a lead. All you have to do is buy a ruby crystal after your first item, a cloth armor, and you're already fairly tanky in the game. So, you know, and Kraken got buffed recently. It's cheaper. It's 100 gold cheaper, which is insane, by the way. Now we got Kraken, Cleaver, Dawn Hits, build for Kindred. To me, this is the best build to do currently in current day Kindred era. Why, you may ask, is because these two items are very good for the game pace. Kraken gives you a lot of damage. It's very good for how to build healthy components, and it gives you what you need to snowball the game. Cleaver gives a lot of haste. It gives a lot of HP, which makes you, you know, be able to kind of play for marks, and it gives a good amount of damage and gives you like shred, you know, like you don't need to buy LDR. LDR is a great item on Kindred, don't get me wrong, but it's very squishy, and you know, being squishy is a problem on Kindred, you know, being very easy to kill. So this is why you go Cleaver. With Sen, very great item on Kindred, pairing with Tabaz. And Bork, if you go Bork with this kind of build, you have one of the best tank killing builds in the game on Kindred, and they buff Bork, they buff Kraken. These items are literally insane when you can build them together. If you get to 3-4 items, you should be able to kill any kind of tanky target in the game. Try it out. Let me know if you guys are still confused on the build, but I really suggest you learn this build. This is the best build to do on Kindred by far. I'm telling you right now. Now, we got Kraken Collector. This is the glass cannon crit build. It's very hard to play, I'm gonna be honest, but it's very rewarding. You don't need to go rapid fire third. I just have it there because it is just a great item to buy when you're playing crit builds. I think people don't understand why Zeal item or even like rapid fire is even good on crit. The reason why it's good is because when you buy the item, let's say after IE or like in the middle. Oh my god, you know what, whatever. Bless me. Whoever says bless you in the comments, the first person, I'll give you a coaching session. Either way, why you go rapid fire is because it helps you, it gives you movement speed, which is insane on Kindred. It gives you crit, you know, something you need. And the extra range you get is very nice to poke people out, get extra damage off on targets. The higher elo you go, the more you understand the game, the more you will understand why it's very OP to have that in your kit, you know, or have that kind of option to be able to poke people out like that. I can do it more in my Kindred climb. I will buy it a lot because it is a great item on Kindred, and you will see why it's very strong when I show you what you can do with it. So yeah, make sure to stay in tune. Keep looking at the YouTube channel to keep watching the Diamond to Challenger series on Kindred only. It's gonna be like 80%, 90% Kindred only, unless it's like taken away from me. But usually I dodge, so out of the way. Next build. Kraken Triforce, very heavy tempo build, very fun to play to be honest. If you get a lot of gold in the game, you just have a lot of like movement speed, a lot of damage, a lot of like on and damage too. It's very nice actually. Usually you want to buy crit with it. You could go like Witsen, LDR also with this kind of build, but you know, usually I just go full crit. Just buy like Shubo, buy some of my boots or buy BT later on. But yeah, very tempo build basically, and it's just very expensive to go. Simple as that. Now, Kraken Yuntal. Very crazy to do with lethal tempo builds. Also, I didn't really talk about runes. I mean, to be honest, you can run whatever rune you want. But both builds, you want to run PT or Conquer, you can go either. But this one, you probably should go lethal tempo because of how much attack speed you will stack. Usually, lethal tempo is really good if you're stacking 2 attack speed type items. This also counts as Berserker Greaves, by the way. So if you go Berserker Greaves Kraken, it's a good lethal tempo game. If you go Kraken Yuntal, to me, it's a very good Lethal Temple game, when you do Triforce, which is a kind of pseudo attack speed item, it's not that the same amount of attack speed you can get from like Yuntal or Zerker Greaves. That's why I don't really count it, but it can work though. By the way, yeah, you just build crit. It's very glass cannon heavy. Also, it's just no collector. So, I mean, it's just a fun build to do when and also no zeal too. Keep that in mind. Want to do it for short range comps, and you want to try to play for a lot of marks usually in these setups. So I think this is the second best build to do right now. So Kraken Cleaver, the first best build. I think this is the second one, where you go Shieldbow into LTR. I think Shieldbow is a very great item actually to buy. It gives you crits and is good defensive stats, though the damage might be a bit lacking. Thing is, if you're able to keep playing for marks and just like keep snowballing the game like that, once you hit the last whisper stage of this build, like you just get the component of it and then you finish the LDR, you will do a shit ton of damage to the enemy team. So give it a try. It should be very fun to do if you are snowballing, but it does take a bit of skill, some mastery to be able to pull off this kind of build in your rank games. Now we got Kraken with Sun LDR. This is another tempo build. A lot of builds are very tempo heavy, where tempo means you're ahead of the curve, you are like farming well, you're getting a lot, you're gonna get a lot of money because you're playing for marks, you're stealing camps, you're ahead of the enemy team pretty much. TLDR, I keep saying the same thing I feel like. But yeah, usually they do lack in a bit of damage in the second item department, unlike Kraken Cleaver. But if you are ahead and you don't really throw your lead, you will still have enough damage. You will not be low on damage because Kraken is a very great snowballing item. It should actually do enough damage for you in the game, especially if you're ahead. It's just very OP, killing champions, especially the lower they get. So then you want to like build very heavy crit items towards the end of your build, because I mean you need to actually be able to kill champions. The later the game goes, you need some good strong mid game items like LDR and crit items in general. So yeah, collector first item. I only like doing this build if I get a Dirk first recall and I have a lot of setup in the game, and I can, like, they're very squishy basically. Those reasons. It's gonna be the same thing for Youmuu's first item too. Do you need to be versus very low HP kind of comps? They're like 4 like range champs usually. That's like the best sign that they're squishy. It's very good for snowballing because you're buying crit so early. So if you get to like your second, your third crit item, let's say you're a collector, i.e. LDR, you're just gonna be 3-hitting people with PTA. Let's be honest, So let's go look at the build. Collector, i.e. LDR, rapid fire, very strong 4-core. You could go shield bow over the rapid fire, but you really want IE, you really want LDR, so you have to play for BF sword quite like heavily on this build. But if you are able to hit your item spikes, you will be like 3-hitting people throughout the whole game, and then once you hit LDR, nothing is squishy, nothing's tanky anymore. Like, the world is yours. Very straightforward build. It's just glass cannon, so have fun when you do this build. Make sure to run Relentless Hunter too when you do this build, because you need the MS to run around the map. So we just talked about collector, right? This is kind of the similar kind of logic. You want to play team deathmatch, Call of Duty lobby style, and you don't need to run Relentless Hunter because Youmuu's is like your kind of Relentless Hunter. So you want to run like Treasure Hunter, or you want to run Ultimate Hunter when you play Youmuu's. It's very great for chaotic games, just like Collector, and that's why you build Collector second with this build. So let's look at the full build. But yeah, Youmuu's is a great item to buy if you want to make the game very volatile. Youmuu's Collector, LDR, IE, Rapid Fire, very strong, high pressure build. You will just kill everyone. The reason why you go Collector, LDR, it's kind of in this order, always usually, because sometimes you will need the armor pen on third item. It's not like you need the full item. You need the Last Whisper component. That's what it's actually you need, not the actual full 3,000 whatever it costs. You need the 1450 Last Whisper component to be able to deal with like any armor they have built. But usually you want to play this build if you are ahead of the curve and they're already quite not that tanky, so you're able to kill anything on your screen. Simple as that. And you can sell your Youmuu's later for BT just to round out your build. And you want to run PTA when you play this setup usually. Now we're looking at Yuntal, the Disneyland item. If you know, you know. When I say that, you must get BF Sword first item. Otherwise, it's not worth going. Trust me. Or you can flip it and buy Sword, Dagger, Dagger, and which you can still build into Kraken Slayer. But if you get BF Sword on the second recall, man, might as well send it, bro. Send it. Be my guest. But yeah, let's talk about the full builds. Yuntal, Cleaver, Woodsend, Renaz, BT. I know there's like no crit in this build really, but you can go IU or the Bloodthirster if you want. But the reason why I have this build is because Yuntal, yes, you buy crit, but you can sell on like 50% crit the whole game. It's not really that bad. Because the attack speed steroid you get from the passive of this item is very nice on hit builds. So you're able to hit a lot. And usually on hit builds, you need a lot of attack speed usually, and marks. So it's just very good synergy. But I'm not really a fan of this build anyways, but it's pretty fun. Yuntal Triforce. You can do the other side where you do Triforce Yuntal. But yeah, again, you need that early BF sword. And you just buy Triforce for the HP and just kind of the tempo of the game. And this is a very tempo build, pretty much. Like, you don't really have a strong damage item on your 1-2 core. So you really want to be ahead of the curve and just be able to play for your third and fourth item to scale into the game. Your goal is to hit 3 crit items, pretty much. But if you're too squishy and you feel like you need the HP versus very heavy dive comp or very high burst comp, you know, whatever it is, then you should buy Triforce. I think this is the best Yuntal variant, to be honest. If you're going first time Yuntal, you go Shield Bow. Again, how I was talking about earlier, Shield Bow is a very great defensive item you can buy. And then you want to buy IE or LDR. It's very strong. It's full crit pretty much. And yeah, once you hit the 3 items, whichever order you do this build in, well, usually I think the Shield Bow is really good to go second, sorry. You will be able to carry the game. Simple as that. You want to hit your 3 item spike. Usually when you buy crit items like this first, you really want to hit your 2-3 item core very fast, because crit items get stronger and stronger the more crit you get. If you're stuck with like a low amount of crit very late into the game, I mean, you're just useless. So keep that in mind. Triforce, best anti-burst item in the game. Gives a lot of stats and it's mainly bought for its HP. Like I said earlier, this item, it's only for the HP. Please understand that. The damage of this item is not better than Kraken Slayer. It will not be better than Yuntal. It will not be better than Collector. But of course, it's very consistent though, which is nice. Again, it's fine to play a very forgiving build. Triforce is a very forgiving item at the end of the day. But if you play a bit better in the early game on your first item and you buy Kraken into HP, I just prefer that. But it's not bad to have Triforce first item. Let's look at the full builds overall and just help you guys out if you want to just build a very good safe item. Triforce Woodsend LDR. This is a very good tanky kind of Triforce setup. If you get to the Triforce Woodsend with tab eyes, you're very hard to kill. You can play for pretty much any mark in the game. Well, you should try to, because once you hit the LDR mark, you will do enough damage to kill anyone, and then you just buy more crit. Buy whatever you want, to be honest. You can sell your boots for a Zeal item, or just buy a Zeal item over the Shield Bow, because you should be pretty tanky already. And I like this build a lot, actually. It's probably my favorite Triforce variant build, because I want to play for marks, and I think when you do this type of build, you have a lot of MR, a lot of tenacity, a lot of armor, a lot of HP. You know, like, I think it's very easy to play for marks, usually, if your team plays with you. So, yeah, I suggest this. This is the Triforce build that I suggest you all to do. Triforce, Cleaver, Woodsend. This is the second build I suggest you to do, because it's very consistent and literally it is fail proof, by the way, because you buy a lot of HP, a lot of haste, which is very good for your QW CD. The only downside of this build is that you kind of need marks to do more and more damage, so that's why I put at the bottom. Like, if you don't feel like you don't do damage, you either are not using your Sheen active well, you have like no marks in the game, or you're a noob. It can only be these 3, because this is a very fail-proof build. And you want to go BT Runans, because these 2 items are very OP when you're playing on-hit builds. So is Bork too. You can go Bork in this build also if you want. But yeah, that is how you cap out the build and, you know, be as strong as possible in the late part of the game. This is the Triforce crit variant. very standard. I mean, if you guys watch this video, it's pretty simple. Why it's good. You just buy Triforce and you crit, and when you hit your crit items, you will snowball the game. Triforce will help you scale into the game pretty much. Simple as that. Shubo, we talked about it earlier. It's like building Kraken Shubo, or it's like Triforce Cleaver. It's just a crit variant of buying defensive item. The more crit items you hit, the better. I mean, you'll be able to do damage. But if you get behind this build, I feel like you would do really little damage. But if you're even / ahead and you're getting marks, you should be able to kill anything on your screen, and you're fairly hard to kill overall in general. So yeah, not a bad build to do if you want to go crit, but the more like defensive kind of option. Triforce Yuntal. If you're eating really good, basically you're farming a lot and you're able to really hit the BF or recall on your second, well, after you hit your first item. If you keep buying more crit items, you will have a lot of attack speed to carry the game, and you're already fairly like tanky, so like you can go like IE third or LTR third, whichever one, doesn't really matter. Like just go whichever one like you need, and you should be able to carry the game because you will do a lot of damage. You have a lot of ED and very high attack speed to just kill people.